Uh, obviously, got I think the thing jumps out at me is just where we started when we first got here. And whether it be talking to Coach Davis or Coach Johnson or, even Coach Oates, to try to have this Auburn-Alabama basketball game mean as much as the football game or some of the softball game or the baseball game or the gymnastics meet. And in men's basketball, both programs, at least when, weren't where we were, ESPN was not covering our game. It was the late game that on the SEC network or something else. So anyways, it's good to have our programs where, the game matters more than just to the people here in the state of Alabama. If Alabama's team or coaching staff were playing and coaching somewhere else, they'd be like one of my favorite teams in college basketball and one of my favorite coaches because of the way they play. They run, they spread it, they shoot the three ball, they get it to the rim, they get to the foul line, they play hard defensively, they're hard to guard, they make great adjustments. Really, really great team and a really great system. So it'll absolutely be our greatest challenge so far this year. Questions?
Coach, we're going to start you with a question from Bennett Durando.
Hey, Bruce, just what do you see from Alabama's backcourt? What's going to make them such a challenge to defend?
Well, I mean, you can't stay in front of him. Quinterly's probably the best point guard in the league. And he's, a very, very difficult cover. He can score from two. He can score from three. He's a great passer, unbelievable hands, great athlete. Experienced Shackelford might be the best shooter in the league. And he can make tough shots. JD's one of the best young guards in the league, and he can make plays. He can score at all levels. And Ellis, right now, when you put his offense and his defense and his ability to get downhill and everything together, he's playing as well as any of them. So arguably, great combination of maybe, four of the best guards on one team.
All right. Next is Jordan Hill.
Bruce, I think you've talked a little bit about Jalen and how he's come off the bench, but just what have you seen from him, not only really accepting that role, but like we saw on Saturday, really making the most of it?
It was great game for Jalen. Jabari for the second game in a row got in foul trouble. I think obviously, look, every coach will game plan a way to try to take out the opponent's best player, get him in foul trouble. And so Jabari only plays 20 minutes against Florida. And as a result, Jalen stepped in. If you combine the position, if you combine Jalen Williams and Jabari Smith's numbers, I think we have the best four-man in the country. That's a strong statement, but I don't think anybody can put those two guys out there and have a better player at the position than Jabari Smith and Jalen Williams. In this day of the transfer portal, it bears repeating that when a guy like Jalen Williams, who's heading into his junior year, sees a guy like Jabari Smith coming in at his position, he transfers. But Jalen Williams is an Auburn man. And not afraid of the competition. We're going to try to compete to maybe move Jabari to a different position or himself move to a different position. Last year, Jalen Williams played a lot of five for us last year. But we've got Walker Kessler, Dylan Cardwell, and Stretch. We've got 3 5-men. So Jalen has not been able to play nearly as much five. And that's why Jalen's minutes have been cut back some. But that doesn't make his contribution to this team any less significant. last year he might have been our very best player. He and Al were our two best players. But Jalen is a very important player on what's potentially a great team. And Jalen can score inside and out. He does a lot of things to affect winning. And he can play make. Jalen Williams can play make. And when we were attacking Florida's pressure, getting the ball out of the point guard's hands and letting Jalen Williams and Jabari Smith play make was really good.
All right, Nubias Wilborn.
There we go. Bruce, hope you having a good day today, man.
Good to see you, Nubias.
Yes, sir. Always, man. Great day to be alive. I was going to ask you something else, but you said something kind of perked my ears. You said a potential great team. What do you see in this team that could make it a potential great team?
Well, I think we've got great depth. I think we got really good chemistry. The culture of our program, my coaching staff has done a really good job with their scouting and preparing the team to play. God blessed us with health for the most part, but there's a lot of moving parts that have got to go into, how this thing finishes up. We got to continue to get better. We got a lot to improve on, and I think, as you can see already, our league is really, really good. And so matchups are going to be important, and you got to bring it every night.
We'll go to Justin Ferguson next.
Bruce, last week in both games, you guys didn't take very many threes. You shot well from three, but didn't take a ton of them. Still scored 80+ in both games. What does it say about this team that you guys are able to have this kind of offense where you can put up a lot of points without necessarily relying on the three as much as y'all used to in the past?
Well, I think a lot of it just depends on what the defense gives you. Florida and South Carolina both. I don't know. I probably could look in the stat sheet here, but my guess is that they both defend the three ball well. And so Marlene's here. She perhaps can look at, and, I think you got to take what the defense gives you. And my guess is both South Carolina and Florida's 3-point field goal percentage defense, or how many they give up, probably not that high, because the way they extend and the way they press up. So, Florida's fourth in 3-point field goal percentage defense, and South Carolina's in the middle of the league. So, I think part of it just take what the defense gives you. We didn't go into that game, trying not to shoot it.
Nathan King.
Bruce, about that Missouri game on Saturday, what'd you see on film that Missouri maybe did to bother Alabama that y'all might try to replicate tomorrow? And then also, what does it say about the depth of the league? Last place in the net gets a win against Alabama.
Yeah, it says a lot about the league. It does. Look, Missouri, Alabama did a lot of really good things. Alabama played well at times. They played hard. Missouri played great. And it's about matchups. That's been a tough place for Alabama to play. Missouri's a big, strong, physical team. And Missouri pounded the ball inside, got into the paint. They kicked it out and made shots that they hadn't made before. So you got to play the percentages. And Missouri hadn't shot the ball very well. They made some big inside-out shots that they hadn't made before. The crowd, their physicality. We're different than Missouri. Like we guard differently than they guard. And so there's not a ton to learn about what we could do that Missouri did, because we're built very differently than they are. They're a big, strong, physical team. They pounded inside. And Alabama's not going to guard us like they guard Missouri, because we have a few more threats on the perimeter.
All right, guys, we got time for just a couple more. Next is Mark Murphy.
Bruce, how important is it going to be to avoid giving Alabama a lot of second chance opportunities on offense, and any other big keys do you see for this game?
I mean, Florida gave up 20 offensive rebounds to Alabama, and Alabama had a great second half comeback at Florida. Great win, one of the best wins in the league so far. And keep this in mind: Alabama's got the toughest strength of schedule of any team in the country. Alabama owns two of the best wins in college basketball, in beating Gonzaga in Seattle and beating Houston. And, they do a great job, long shots, long rebounds. And so, they may not possess every 50-50 ball, but they keep them all alive. And so we got to do a good job of, rebound the basketball, obviously taking care of the basketball, getting back in transition, because Alabama gets that ball down the floor, make or miss, as well as anybody in our league. They do a great job playing fast.
And we're going to finish up with the follow-up from Justin Ferguson.
Bruce, I wanted to ask you about Alabama's defense. We talked about their offense. What do you see from them defensively? That was such a big part of their identity last year when they won the league.
Yeah, they got, their guards can get after you. Bediako protects on the inside. Gray is physical. I love Gurley. We try to recruit Gurley to Auburn, and Noah's really come into his own. He's averaging 11 and 6 in SEC play. I think he's a lot. He's not Herb Jones, but he does some Herb Jones like things, Alabama is. They do a great job with their ball screen defense. They impact you. So, obviously they're known for their offense because of how dangerous they are from 3 and at the rim, but they can also defend as well.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it.
Okay, guys.